our main point of today, in sticking with Jamaican boundaries, is that Jamaica suffers from a great birthing issue. This encompasses many things, such as the jacket crisis, as we like to say, but the paternity crisis, to put it more
Enough man wear them suit good
logically.
now.
The jacket
Them a
crisis,
weird proud. Them a weird proud.
right?
Proud.
When they get the paper.
For the birth
Not
rate
yours.
issue that we have been facing, and the government has been pushing up many PR stunts, as I would think, to get more women cooperating with giving birth. So let's start with the jacket issue and work out.
Let's talk about
Us as men though.
Yeah.
That really
How you
affects
feel
us.
about that?
How does it affect you? Have children?
them women them are wicked. That I'll start there. Yeah. Them man we give man jacket are wicked.
Okay.
Agree upon that. Because look, think about
I
it.
agree as well.
Oh, you agree as well?
Okay.
Fair.
I agree because I think a man has certain amount of pride. Humans overall have pride, but men, they take great pride in their paternity, in their childbearing abilities. So for you to deprive a man of his true child and to give him something that's not of his own for him to take care of, and this entire time, for this at least 18 years of his child's upbringing, he's there, for the present fathers I'm talking about. But he's there and he's giving this child economic and emotional support, and then to find out that it wasn't his own, that's kind of foul in my opinion.
That's why enough money in Bellevue.
Yeah. Just to play the devil's advocate. Is there any way to defend the woman in this situation at all?
In terms of paternity
She never know.
fraud?
I don't buy that. I don't buy that
Okay,
one.
but then if she was supposed to plead that she didn't know, then the next issue would be you have sex with multiple men at once. So cause how can it be more than one?
So basically, I give it to the woman where you say that the best suited one. Because say John from around say look at your John Crow, but the other one seem like say him nice and decent church boy. So let's give church boy.
Or
you're okay. Most times women have this philosophy that they have then when they have two men, one it might be the one that they love, they're passionate about, but in the real is financially stable. While the other one that may be older, taking care of them and all of that. So even though say a John Owen, I give it to Ben because Ben is more likely to take care of you and the child. If you give it to John, John can barely take care of himself. So really
that's what we call the female dualist.
No, but I'm saying really and truly, although you say you're thinking about the child financial wise, you don't really care about the child well-being because you basically have forced something on the child without child consent. Although children can't consent, you basically have to do something for your own selfish benefit.
True.
Because really and truly at that point, you think about your child, but you think about your own self.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then overall, I think that our issue regarding to maternal and paternal matters, it's something that's been dating back to colonization. We oftentimes know that male figures are not often expected to be in a family household. We have been kind of colonized to believe that men are supposed to not have one family. They have one here, so with Keisha, one with Barbara, one with John, and he's not really settling down with any of them. And this is something that is kind of generational because a man probably grew up with his mother having multiple partners, his father wasn't around, and then he passes it on to his children.
Well, Krishan, I would have to disagree with you there because even though we would see, of course, with the whole slavery thing that Black men in particular weren't seen as figureheads in the household. They were seen more so as breeders for, to be a little bit harsh. But notwithstanding that, we cannot negate the fact that in a modern context where we have access to so many different forms of technologies, we have DNA testing that some of them, not all, choose to remain ignorant to these things, and then it becomes a whole debacle and paternity fraud.
No, hold on.
Stay ignorant because why would you want to believe that this could happen to you?
The greatest drive for a man is to be a father.
Is that so?
Yeah,
true.
Greatest drive because anyone will
Is
tell you
that
this.
so with so many fatherless children in Jamaica?
Hold on. I remember saying, even though them fathers, the man can say, yo, I'm a youth, man, no longer get this.
Take care of.
You know what? Him can black team friend, man, drink your rum.
Drink rum when put on a game child for go school.
Okay, that's true.
But
Game child,
game child,
school.
Next thing the woman, next thing, woman say child, I think it's some child.
The money.
I can see both sides of the argument, but I do think that on one hand, it is a case where the man is not going to be his first thought that if you are laying down with a woman every night, why would you think that she would lie?
Especially if you love her and you trust her.
Yeah,
You want to trust
It's gonna
her.
be a
And then,
first
you know,
thought.
man, them always listen to chronic law and spread for your God.
Yeah.
The man is a kind of clown
True,
that said the
true.
woman them wicked.
No, not true, no.
They will do all of these things.
True.
But anyway,
Naturally, kid.
on the
That's why Jamil say, you know, girls are drugs. Build your house, you with them.
Anyways, on this whole topic too, I saw an article. Well, actually, I saw two interesting articles, which I was like, this is good for this conversation. One, the ploy by I think it's the Ministry of Health. I don't know if it's the Ministry of Health, but some person in that health field was talking about if women don't have kids by the age of 30 something, or they wait till they get older, the likelihood of them getting cancer increases. I'm like, so you're going to threaten us with cancer
It's
to
kind
have
of a scare
children?
tactic.
I'm like,
I think it's a scare tactic. I think that
You can get cancer from just breathing. No?
no, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying what stop us from having kids? Well, if they decide to have kids now or not, what will stop us from having cancer now? Cancer doesn't know age.
Where it's a cultural thing where women have always been pressured into starting a family and getting married. It's something that's kind of preached upon us that this is the good life. Marriage is like a status symbol of okay, I've made it. I have a use. Whereas having children, they are seen as having use. A lot of times, when one woman wants to reach the age of 30, them granny, them auntie, them uncle, everybody are called and say, why you not have a picnic yet? Why you not have this yet? It's something that's kind of generationally bestowed upon us. And on top of that, post-COVID, we have seen where the world's population has been fluctuating quite a bit, and many countries have this population crisis where we're trying to repopulate the earth, essentially. So to scare us into having kids is kind of something that benefits other people, not ourselves, but it benefits the world at large, because we'll then be contributing to many aspects of our society, that being economically, socially, and so forth.
But in the context of Jamaica, though, let me see if I can find it. It's not necessarily a matter of fluctuation. It has just been a steady decline in the amount of births. But it's not necessarily even because we've been spending a whole lot of time, on the woman. But the other interesting article that I saw was in relation to Jamaican men and their overall sperm count being some of the worst.
Them drink too much rum.
Too much rum and cigarette, man. Too much special a morning time.
Too much special.
That's weird,
man.
The article was saying that poor health habits, because the men, some of them,
but you know,
let's be real, they don't take care of themselves. But they need to take care of themselves. Go get that.
Hygiene,
the clothes that they wear, Jamaica in a tight pants pandemic, endemic, it's like ingrained. That also contributes to low sperm count, not taking care of themselves, as you say, drinking, well, what them say, flossing, whatever that means, flossing, smoking.
And the heat is a big thing too.
Well, I didn't know, you were telling me.
Just living here in Jamaica kills your sperm count.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, kill a pocket,
Yeah. But your sperm count. Yeah, a doctor said it to me, so we need to push for some more AC. That's what we need to do. Push for some more AC. Yeah.
That's good.
But a plethora of things contribute to the low birthing issues, and that in turn affects our nation. I think you were alluding to it earlier, because the working population is going to turn from, I think China has it now, even with them having an aging population, and they don't have enough persons to replace those who are supposed to go into the working field, because not enough children are born. But China's situation kind of different, because they had put that into law that you only could have one child.
You could only have one or two children maximum.
But not even two, it was always a one child.
Yeah, one child
what
policy.
I found interesting too in the context of Jamaica, where we are having this whole, yes, have more children. The birth rate is declining. For those who don't know, your birth rate is how many live births per 100,000.
Yeah.
You do the maths. Can't help you with that part there. But I see where they're still encouraging family planning. So I'm like,
so you say it's basically counterintuitive.
I think
basically,
realistically, as a sociologist and social studies student, I know that the reason why we have seen a decline in birth rate in most recent years is because when you compare it to the quality of life in Jamaica, it's really not worth it. People are not able to really sustain a family. They can barely sustain themselves. As I said earlier, if I take my $16,000 a week and say I'm going to have 1, 2 children, barely have enough for myself. I'm not going to feed that child, send that
when
child to
taxes
school,
come out
clothe
of
that
it
child.
too.
When you take taxes out of it as well, it's really not feasible for us to sustain a family and ourselves on the minimum wage that we have.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad you went there. So because we want to get into some solutions, right?
Yeah.
Because so they are being calls from the private sector to import immigrants to balance the labor deficit. That's one solution. Here's the other solution I want us to ponder.
Somewhere in
Calls from advocates for surrogacy as a solution for the low birth rate.
Wait, who can afford surrogacy though? Isn't that expensive?
I mean, if
it's government subsidized, then we can probably.
But you know, that first one that you mentioned, it's giving an indentured worker type vibe.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like we're getting persons to come here to have their kids. How are we so certain that these people children are going to remain here? They probably take them and carry them back. Remember, Jamaica supposed to have free healthcare, I think.
Yeah. Do it?
It don't really feel free, but you know,
we do.
you know, have their children here, use the resources of our nation, then take the children wherever they wish. I don't think there are enough guarantees to ensure that these people will, or whoever, I don't know what the government thinking, that they're going to remain here.
I think as well, a lot of Jamaicans, going off of the backbone of this, a lot of Jamaicans are kind of in support of this whole deportation tactic that Trump has going on because they believe that we have been suffering from brain drain. That is a fact. But they believe that due to the amount of people who are migrating, or not even migrating, just running away and not come back, because most of them not really did it legally. The percent of people that are migrating and going away to different countries, specifically the United States of America, we as a country are getting the rare end of the tail because then our country and our economy is affected by this. And they think that with the either immigrants and bringing in people from different countries to help us, or just supporting Trump's deportation.
I mean, supporting Trump deportation tactic, so like bad man.
Well, I am on the opposite side of the fence for that because I'm like, how much good than bad is that really going to do for us? Because as it's saying, a lot of these persons, no shade to those persons, you in a predicament, I really can't talk for you. But it's like, it's not necessarily the skilled workers that are coming back to Jamaica. It's not the nurses and the teachers and the doctors.
That were suffering here in the first place, they ran away for a reason.
So they come in, well, you're Jamaican, we have to accept you. You come back with open arms to your family, not to me, you know, to your family them. But it's like, how exactly are they going to contribute?
To be fair, these people were contributing before. A lot of these times, the impoverished of Jamaica, they kind of depend on their foreign family members. They depend on the barrel to come down once a month. They depend on.
How often does the barrel come down? That is the next question.
But that's up to them. But they kind of depend on it. Even if it comes once a year or once a month, they depend on it and they look forward to it.
You know what's funniest thing now? Remittance actually Jamaica's second leading industry other than tourism.